that if you really want to get to Donald, the way to do it is through his bank book, not by saying, oh, he's a narcissistic sociopath, or, look at, he's definitely not 6'3", and he's not 215 pounds. You go after the wallet. Once you start hitting that bank book, that's what really gets to him.
If he goes to trial and there's a cash judgment for $250 million, can he pay that, or is he going to bankruptcy? Okay,
so let me begin by saying that there's a lot of mistakes that get made by people in the media, journalists included, when they say this is a $250 million lawsuit against Trump and the organization. It is not. It is a baseline of $250 million.
You're saying it could be more than that?
I'm saying it could go anywhere up to whatever the judge determines. Let's not forget, Alina Habba made a terrible error, Trump's attorney, by failing to check off a certain box that had the case as a jury trial. It is now a bench trial. So Judge Engoron will be the sole decider on what the damages are. The damages, in my estimation, will exceed, with interest and penalty, will exceed $600 million. Does that put the company into bankruptcy? He does not have that liquid cash available in order to pay that off for a multitude of reasons. Many of the assets that he owns, he has limited to no basis in them, like 40 Wall Street, $1 million basis. He also has, say, $100 million mortgage onto it. If that property sells even for a whopping $400 million, which is probably worth more.
To your point, you're saying he cannot pay that?
No, because he's also going to have to pay Uncle Sam tax on the money between the basis and the sale price. He doesn't escape that. Everybody has to pay that. So let's say it's 50%. So that would be $200 million minus the $100 that he owes to the banks on it. So there's $100 million left in order to be used to offset whatever the judgment will be.
You know him well. What do you think is going through his mind tonight?
I think he's very angry, as I said, and Jamie Gangel repeated it. The way to get to Donald Trump is always via the pocketbook. It's what he cares about most.
Michael Cohen, your testimony jump-started this. Thank you for coming on to join us tonight.
Good to see you.
There's not an obvious victim here. Typically in a fraud case, you lie to a bank, you lie to investors, you make off with their money, you don't pay them back. Here, the conundrum is the Trump org generally did pay these loans back that they got with these inflated numbers with interest. So you can still charge that as a criminal fraud, but a prosecutor thinking, how is this going to play with the jury? It doesn't have as much appeal without a victim.
But so, Dave, what does that? What exactly does that mean? So Trump Tower, which I guess he owns, that would no longer be Trump Tower?
And became David K. Johnston LLC, then I have to have permission from the state and a license. And the judge has now destroyed all of those licenses. So Donald, unless a court of appeals reinstates it, cannot do business. He's no longer in business in New York State. And eventually those businesses would be dissolved, just as would happen in a bankruptcy case where there's a liquidation. You pay off the creditors, and any fines the judge ultimately fines are due to the state of New York